Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. A lot of crazy news today, so please bear with me, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. David Marcus, the head of Libra at Facebook, emphasized that Libra users will not have to put their trust in Facebook. Marcus reiterated that Facebook is not the only member of the Libra network and that they are relinquishing control of the network. In the post, he said, and I do quote, Facebook will not control the network, the currency, or the reserve backing it. Facebook will only be one among over 100 members of the Libra Association by launch. We will not have any special rights or privileges, end quote. Relinquishing control over the infrastructure behind Libra is precisely what Polychain CEO Carson Wee said would be the strategy for Facebook. At the Consensus 2019 blockchain conference in May, he said, I think that the strategic move for Facebook would actually be to be a public infrastructure, and that public infrastructure could be incorporated onto all Facebook platforms, which of course are proprietary. But that public infrastructure, if they don't try to own it, I think that's where they will have the most success, end quote. Marcus also said that while Facebook does own the crypto wallet company known as Libra as a subsidiary, this is where it gets interesting. He says no financial data will be available to Facebook. Moreover, he says that users are free to use a range of custodial and non-custodial wallets from different companies to store and make transactions with Libra. One non-custodial wallet recently announced is ZenGo, which has provided a proof of concept demonstration for Libra support. The wallet reportedly eliminates the need for storing private keys by using a key-like solution that is distributed among multiple parties rather than existing as one string of characters. There was a podcast that happened sometime last week, and it was very odd, and I was almost hesitant to even listen to it because I knew that it would be full of crap, excuse my language. The point is that there was a lot of discussion before Facebook actually decided to announce that they were going to be trying to create something that would look like a cryptocurrency, and then we had news that they had actually created one. The entire topic has been thus far that Facebook would have all control over every single thing that has to do with the cryptocurrency. Apparently, according to people from Facebook, and I don't know how much that I trust this either, because over the last couple of years, if you've been paying attention to everything that has happened with Facebook in the news, it has pretty much come down to the fact that they've constantly said that they care about users in general, people on their platform, and they don't share their data. They don't do so and so and so, and they're going to work harder. But the last 3 years haven't really fit into that kind of thing that they're telling the truth in any sort of way. So the point of the podcast was, and also this announcement from one of the, what's the guy's name? David Marcus, the head of Libra, is that trying to ease people's fears that Facebook won't harbor or have or sell your data, which I think in some ways is a lie. I think it would be very weird for Facebook, a company who's been around for, 14 years, give or take, who has done the same exact thing nonstop for 14 years, to kind of change their act or say that they're going to be doing something completely different. I have a very strange feeling that you can say something, you can, talk about not controlling this, not controlling so and so and so, or blah, 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 or like whatever they've said throughout these quotes. But I feel like something between these lines is exactly what they plan on doing and exactly how they plan on profiting from this. Because I doubt that the only way that they're planning on profiting from this is making their own cryptocurrency and having some type of a transaction fee on their network. It doesn't seem like what a major multi-billion-dollar company would be trying to do. Anyway, I thought this was very interesting. This has been a major topic, and there's also other stuff that ties into this kind of as we end up going forward. The entire Facebook thing is, I think at this point, never ending. And I want to know exactly, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one either. The only person who wants to know exactly what is happening with the innards of this entire thing, because I have a very strange feeling. This may also be exactly why, because of what they've announced, not that I'm saying that I think that this is what they're going to do, but this may also be why we've seen a large amount of backlash from banks, whatever the other case might be, as far as what Facebook is planning on doing. Because in some weird world, if this actually is true and they don't plan on controlling any aspect of this, and people will be able to take their Libra off and use it on other platforms to be able to spend money, buy things, do what they want, then this definitely does hurt central banks and banks even more, because the entire point that banks were trying to make up until this point when it comes to Facebook's coin is that they wanted to know exactly what Facebook was going to be doing with it. But if Facebook has no control over it, and the control actually does evenly lie amongst 100 different parties, then that, that makes it a lot even crazier, because then that means that no one would then control it. And I wonder if it's as freely usable as any other cryptocurrency, which we know that it's not. It's very weird that they keep, or rather that this is even a discussion that they've put out there, because I'm pretty sure you've seen it over the last couple of weeks as well. Like, no one really trusts Facebook, and no one really trusts the idea of giving them their money or having your money on their platform, especially if they decide to, like, block your account, or your account gets frozen, or your account goes away, and then you end up losing all your money that you had on your platform. Then you have to go and, like, beg to Facebook. So this is, expect more of this over the next couple of weeks, maybe even the next couple of months, as Facebook continues to try to tell people, no, it's okay, it's perfectly fine, just use our platform. Do not trust Facebook with your money at all, regardless of what you hear, until they become as decentralized as Bitcoin. Don't even think about it. It's incredibly creepy what they're trying to do. In not so creepy, actually awesome news, the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore, or the IRAS, has published a draft guide that explains the Good and Services Tax, or the GST, treatment for transactions involving cryptocurrencies that are used as a medium of exchange, referred to as digital payment tokens. The draft references Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, Monero, XRP, and Zcash as examples, and a major step forward for cryptocurrency supporters and for people who want to spend their crypto like cash. Under the new guidance, cryptocurrencies will no longer be subject to the goods and services tax. The lawmakers acknowledge an increased interest in cryptocurrencies and have adapted the tax framework to support the growth of the industry. They said examples like these tokens, global development and growth in the use of cryptocurrencies has caused tax jurisdictions to review their goods and services tax position on cryptocurrency transactions. Similarly, the IRAS has reviewed its GST position to keep up to date with these developments. In particular, IRAS recognizes that taxing cryptocurrencies which function or are intended to function as medium of exchange, that is, digital payment tokens, result in 2 tax points, one on the purchase of the cryptocurrency, and again on the use as payment for other goods and services subjected to the goods and services tax, to better reflect the characteristics of digital payment tokens. With effect from the 1st of January 2020, the supply of such tokens will no longer be subject to the goods and services tax. The change in GST treatment does not represent IRA's endorsement of cryptocurrency investments. According to the draft, if you are paying digital tokens in return for goods and services, you need not account for output tax. This, I think, may actually be the first country on our planet to announce that they are doing something like this. And this is happening in many other countries as well, as far as if you are holding cryptocurrencies, if you decide to buy something with cryptocurrencies, you are taxed on it. It makes no sense if you are trying to pay for something with cryptocurrencies that you should be like imagine buying something for 45 cents and then you end up taxed on that, and you have to write it down or note it down somewhere, and then you have to let the tax authorities know that you have also paid for that thing for 45 cents so that you can get taxed 3 cents or something. It's very nonsensical. So it appears that Singapore is going to be going through with this. As it says, they have an actual date, the 1st of next year. Completely insane. Eventually other countries will have to follow suit with this. This won't be a Singapore only thing, I do promise you that. As cryptocurrencies become larger, there are going to be a lot more issues, especially because the overlapping thing kind of comes down to if other central banks and other whatever so and so are going to be also creating their own cryptocurrencies, and the law says that any cryptocurrency that's being used to buy something is also taxed. Imagine if millions of people in your country have to start using a central bank, government, whatever cryptocurrency, and every single time that they buy something, they're also not only taxed on the normal sale tax, but also on the normal tax of having just even used the cryptocurrency, because that's a tax in itself. Nonsensical. Rather nice to see. I always mention these things. Whenever you hear governments specifically mention certain coins, it's usually a good sign. Sometimes they may mention certain coins in a negative way. Like governments last year, if it had to do with Dash, Monero, Zcash, they were always negative about it. So to see this actually in their thing, talking about being able to use these as a payment method or tax-free when using it as a payment within the country, it's pretty significant. Anyway, I thought that was incredibly cool. We will start to get more news like this as I don't even want to say the year. I think governments are a bit too slow. Singapore may just be at the front of the line when it comes to this, but we will have a lot more news like this. I'm excited for, I don't know. I didn't even have a specific country in my head that would also implement something like this, but there have been at least a couple of other states within the United States who have announced that they were trying to propose plans like this, because it's completely nonsensical to think that people are going to write down any of this information as they're trying to buy a pair of slacks, a pair of shoes. Anyway, let's move on. From now on, the video just gets even weirder. An official at the Bank of Japan, or the BOJ, has ruled out the use of central bank digital currencies because to do so may require the country to abandon cash. According to a report by Reuters, Masayoshi Amamiya, deputy governor of the Japanese central bank, on Friday cast shade on the notion that central banks could make negative interest rate policies more effective by issuing their own digital currencies. The issue comes down to the fact that if the Bank of Japan issues a digital yen and set a net negative interest rate, individuals and businesses would effectively be charged for holding the central bank digital currency. As a result, he argued, holders would drop the digital coin and instead hold cash. That is a common misconception. What would happen is that more people would simply move into cryptocurrencies, and this is why the adoption of cryptocurrencies is incredibly important. So I always say, I know a lot of people, you've told your friends roll their eyes at you, roll an eye at you. But this is why we need more people in the cryptocurrency space, because the more that they know, the more people will end up moving away from fiat currencies. The idea that banks have is that if they end up doing something like this and do something wrong, that people will simply go, no, I'd rather hold cash. But people are starting to realize that cash also loses value every single year. Your buying power continues to go down while the prices of cryptocurrencies continue to go up as all of this is happening. Amamiya concluded by saying, to overcome the nominal zero lower bound, central banks would need to eliminate cash. Eliminating cash would make settlements infrastructure inconvenient for the public, so no central bank would do this, end quote. Back in April 2018, Amamiya also said the Bank of Japan had no plans to issue a central bank digital currency directly for consumers because it could undermine the existing two-tiered system and affect financial stability. So that's what the Bank of Japan is saying. And then right over here, after issuing comments and reports heavily critical of cryptocurrencies over the last few years, Augustin Carstens, chief of the Bank for International Settlements, which is pretty much the central bank of the central bank, has acknowledged that central banks will likely soon need to issue their own digital currencies. I told you it just kind of makes no sense. Speaking to the Financial Times on Sunday, Carstens says that the Bank for International Settlements, which acts like a central bank for central banks, is supporting global central banks' efforts to research and develop digital currencies based on national fiat currencies. A number of central banks are engaged in such work and are working on it. And we are working on it, supporting them. Why not? Carson said further, the arrival of such products might just be around the corner if there is a clear evidence of demand from the public. He said it might be that it is sooner than we think that there's a market and we need to be able to provide central bank digital currencies. The comments come after Facebook's unveiling of the plan Libra, because the entire point is that it's pretty clear right now. I didn't think that people in the news would actually talk about this openly, but they're doing it a lot. They're talking about the fact that if you tie everything together from what Facebook is trying to do, focusing on what Facebook is trying to do, that they're trying to become their own bank. They're trying to become the largest bank in the entire world. And what's going to end up happening is that even if a fraction of this is remotely true and Facebook does not control a larger portion of their cryptocurrency and is going to be somewhat decentralized in some sort of way, nodes, people around the world, kind of free use. We know that a couple of countries are planning on restricting this, but if there's something generally in accordance with that, it would be the advent of the new economic world where older banking systems would have to completely change what they're doing. And this is why we've seen banks moving for, or rather aiming for, more Ripple use, or simply talking about creating their own digital currencies because they realize that they have to do it now. So the Bank of Japan says no. The head of the central bank is talking about that we're going to see this sooner than we think. I assume by the end of this year, every major bank, especially if we end up getting to a point where the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange are successful in their ventures when it comes to cryptocurrencies, by sometime around, I want to say September, October. This is when we're going to have the first major banks, in my opinion, first major banks around the world talking about that they already have one. They're going to use a stable coin, or they're going to start creating their own, which will be released sometime in 2020. And I assume by the end of the year, if we end up hitting I want to say a $30, $40, $50,000 Bitcoin price, which would lead us into a $1 trillion Bitcoin market cap by the end of this year, that's when the central banks are going to make sure that they do as much as they possibly can to make sure that they are still in the running. Very, very weird, and it gets even weirder. There we go. Next up, the European Central Bank Executive Board member Benoit Geber also said that financial regulators must act fast to prepare for Facebook's Libra stablecoin. Bloomberg reported on the 7th of July. Per Bloomberg, Geber argued on Sunday in Aix-en-Provence in southern France that allowing for the development of new financial services and asset classes in a regulatory void is irresponsible. He concluded, "We, financial regulators, have to move more quickly than we've been able to do so up until now." That's great. I like he said that. It's not going to happen. The most that they're going to be able to do is be able to put the same exact laws that they had before on top of cryptocurrencies, which is something that we've already seen. But as far as them acting quickly enough, it won't work. There's no way for them to actually be able to do this. It takes years to be able to develop proper decentralized. I assume that they're not trying to be as decentralized as possible. But to even catch up to the development of what we have right now, like I'm going to assume that Facebook has probably had this in the works for at least 2 years. I was listening to something else and they were talking about how weird it was that Facebook decided to launch their own crypto after their entire thing that they had with the Winklevoss twins, and also that they named theirs Libra, while the other twins called their Gemini. So it's definitely done to be like a little stab in the side. According to Kerr, the development of digital assets has exposed gaps in current financial regulations and underlines banks' slow rate of adoption of new technologies. He said, "All these projects are a rather useful wake-up call for regulators and public authorities as they encourage us to raise a number of questions and might make us improve the way we do things." It's taken years to get to this point. Imagine, I mentioned this before, this was about a good week and some change ago. If governments had 1 or 2 years ago, around 2011, 2012, they could have destroyed Bitcoin easily. They could have done 59% attacks if they even wanted to. What they've done is taken their time for so long because they got so comfortable sitting on their chairs thinking that they just couldn't, like no one could possibly threaten their position. And all it took was for Facebook to announce, we have 3 billion people using our platform. We're going to be the largest central bank in the entire world. And now governments are completely losing their minds. The European Central Bank has generally approached crypto assets with caution, with one bank often official predicting that crypto would end up as a complete load of nonsense in January. Sure, the bank has also discussed the possible benefits and drawbacks of central bank digital currencies. This is going to get really messy really fast. I don't think, in my humblest of opinions, that banks actually know what they're doing. And this is why we see it's very, is fractional the word? No. Fractured. Fractured is the word that I'm looking for. They're going to create their own coins. It's not going to work out together. Their systems are going to be not operable in the slightest. What we've seen is that the strength of decentralized blockchains is pretty much that, because there's no single point of failure. People try to attack blockchains all the time. People try to attack Bitcoin, every other coin all the time, because there's no single central point of failure. It makes them very, very difficult to attack. What's going to end up happening is that, in my opinion, I think a lot of these banks, regulators, blah, blah, blahs are going to try and create systems that are based on blockchain that are going to have 2 or 3 nodes. And I think those nodes are going to be attacked very, very quickly, because a lot of them don't want to relinquish control, because the moment you relinquish control, you're no longer at the top of the charts. And you're on a level playing field, and you don't want to play leveled with any other bank or any other institution, because all these banks think that they're better than any other bank that's out there. So think of a world where they're trying to create all of these things. They're not decentralized. People figure out immediately how to destroy them, how to, DDoS attacks, whatever the case might be. People end up not having their money for a good 48 hours. The systems are completely down. There's no interoperability. If you're trying to still send money to your friend over here. You still have to go through 3 or 4 other layers to be able to do so. Ends up taking a couple of hours. What happens? People end up moving towards other cryptocurrencies, especially when they end up realizing or come to the conclusion that it doesn't work. It's not as fast as I thought. The fees are completely ridiculous. I think banks are going to have a very hard time figuring out exactly how to lower their rates and their fees in order to be able to compete with other cryptocurrencies. Like, all of this is just a complete recipe for madness. I'm very excited for it. I don't want people to, lose their money as far as like with banks and stuff like that, because you just know there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff like that when they're trying to develop this. But even more so, I don't have any faith that people in the banking industry are going to be able to develop their own infrastructure over the next year or year and a half that's going to be able to compete anyway with the cryptocurrencies that we have right now. And this is where, I don't know, it's very fascinating. It all gets very interesting when you kind of like dig a bit deeper to see exactly how, you know that these people are trying to regain or maintain control, but they won't be able to do so. And they wasted so much time to trying to be able to really put this into the front of their vision. And now that the fact that this is all happening, actually, there are moments in my life where I sit there like, I want Facebook to launch this coin. I want them to cause banking institutions to completely lose their mind, to come to the realization in the fact that they did not accept or start adopting cryptocurrencies early enough. Because if Facebook does end up launching this and they are successful in any sort of way, and cryptocurrencies continue to rise in value, gain adoption around the world, that's it for the old banking system. Like, they're going to have no choice but to adopt cryptocurrencies, which is kind of already the case. I still firmly believe, my opinion, that any type of cryptocurrency that they try and adopt, or try and create, anything that they make or fabricate is not going to do very well. Just once again, my opinion. They've taken so long, and I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything of significance, at least in my opinion. To kind of finish things up, the world of cryptocurrencies will remember Christine Lagarde as the International Monetary Fund's head that first acknowledged the potential for cryptocurrencies. The lawyer and former French finance minister has in the past said that crypto seeks to anchor trust in technology. However, just like any other banker, Lagarde has expressed some reservations about the disruptive nature of digital currencies. The International Monetary Fund head is now headed to Frankfurt for her new appointment as the European Central Bank head. Insane. How happy she must feel. Ripple fans believe that this is another bullish occurrence for XRP. Christine, who acknowledges, while acknowledging the power of crypto, has been a tad offhanded about most tokens, perhaps due to her regulatory stance. She, however, has openly praised Ripple and Circle. Earlier this year, in the Paris FinTech Forum, she warned banks to adopt new technology or die. A little harsh, kind of true. The IMF head warned the legacy banking system that they were in danger of not just disrupting change, but self-induced cannibalization, which is what I just said. She presented Ripple and Circle as a helpful way out for banks planning to catch up with the technology change. Her predecessor at the European Central Bank, Mario Draghi, is a crypto bear. He has described digital currencies as highly risky, saying that they should not be characterized as currencies. Draghi has done away what he can to alienate central banks and blah, 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 whatever. I'm tired of reading that. The point is, speculation abound. We are in a speculative market. The fact is that the head of the International Monetary Fund, who is now going to be the head of the European Central Bank, has come forward multiple times to talk positively about Ripple and XRP. You can even find her on other, like those panels, those things where everyone's talking about stuff and the future of this and the blah, blah, blah. They're like, we're those sitting in those chairs awkwardly waiting to try and get their chance to talk. She has come out in support of Ripple multiple times, and I think has even mentioned XRP and XRP. She's also been on the forum and panels for Ripple events. So a lot of people are a little excited. Like I said, a lot of speculation. And this other part right here, XRP has not been doing very well. It's not me spreading FUD. It's just the truth. It's one of the lowest performing assets, I believe, over the last like 6, 7, or 8 months or something like that. It has runs up, but they usually don't do as well. A lot of analysts are predicting that XRP could potentially do well over the next couple of months, just based on the actual fundamentals and people actually using the cryptocurrency and all the other news that we've been getting about the other new additions to the Ripple team. Mentioned it before. It is a little weird that the price does not move up. I've seen a lot of people reporting or telling me in the comment section that they have sold their XRP. It's a weird coin. In 2017, it was less than 1 cent. And then for about a good 8-9 months, it was around 20 cents, 24 cents, somewhere around there. And then it shot up to $3.60. It's a very slow moving coin. It has an old soul. I still expect the coin to move up. I don't think that this is the end of XRP or anything like that. It's more like a bit of a conundrum as to why the price hasn't moved up. A lot of people were I saw people talking on Twitter a couple days ago. They were like, it's very weird that, what was the other one? Was it MoneyGram or Western Union? It went up by 300%. XRP went up by 5% and then went back down. Is kind of weird, but analysts out there do still hold hope in their bag of hope, or this, I guess maybe their analyze that XRP is going to go up at some point in the future. We'll see. Speculation. I don't know how else to end that story. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gun Bot University, Master Ventures in Thailand, Janae Francis, Triple M and J, My Keto Kitchen, Adobo, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Brady Niels, L. Doug, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, Crypto Joe, Mohair Maroney, Carl Birchenoff, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Rai, Yasha Harari, Amy Starsheen, Jeffrey Ramsey, Clara T. Snowden, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Nicholas, One Earth, One Peace, One Love, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich the Third, RF Dusty, Cody, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Tom Sucks at Basketball and Sam Skips Leg Day, Jeremy the Photographer, Jim Gardner, Minting Coins, Arthur Yaku, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, and Mick Kanik. Thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, Bitcoin's going up. No real news as to why Bitcoin could be going up. It could just be, once again, in anticipation of the things that are going to be launching in about 14 days by the New York Stock Exchange. It could just be simple movement up. We've seen a lot of volatility in the market. It is very nice to see volatility. Volatility means that people are once again in the market. People are once again trading, and people are trying to accumulate as much Satoshis as they possibly can. Ethereum is also moving up, which is kind of weird. It started moving up about a good day or two ago. Since we saw this little pump over here, it was below $300. I think the news finally spread around enough that when, what is it, 15 months from now? Seems like a long way off. It's not, I promise you. That they are going to be lowering the issuance rate of Ether from 5 Ether to 2 Ether, where it currently is, to 0.2 Ether, which is absolutely nothing. I saw a couple of other articles talking about the madness of them lowering their issuance rate that low, especially compared to what Bitcoin is going to have, and if this is going to have any impact on the price. I definitely think so, especially if proof of work ends up happening anytime soon. And besides that, no real other coin is up at the moment. Cardano's up by 8%. Have not seen any news as to why. It could just be a general waiting for Shelly kind of moment. No real coin. Yeah. Alrighty. Me thinks that's going to do. Okay. Omise goes also up. Also not in the news. Who knows why. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.